All right, welcome back to the Energy Boom 101. This is now dispatch from the patch 25. We unexpectedly had a problem in dispatch from the patch 24. There used to be a laptop right about there. It basically went over the edge. Sort of a bummer there. We lost her. We're going to do our best to revive her. May make the bionic laptop, bring back Steve Majors, and see if he wants to do the Great International Quail Hunt in Enid. Anyone gets that reference, I'll pay $5 trillion. Big deep breath, boom, you shot. Let's get caught back up. Here's what happened. I was going to give you a market wrap update. And my laptop went over the edge there, so we don't have that, but that won't matter anyways, because you don't want to get caught up in the daily fluctuations of the market. It's nothing more than a reflection of all of our madness. So what you want to do is keep your eye on the big trend. So we're going to finish the article. Battered and bruised, but unbowed, if that's even the right quote. I know it's alliteration at least. We're going to complete the article, and we were talking about the International Energy Agency issuing its World Energy Outlook for 2014 or whatever. This is huge. This is great, huge, broad trends. And if you remember, we were discussing that they basically said that the natural gas prices should have a significant variance between the United States and the rest of Europe till 2035. And I have to be honest with you, I didn't get my PhD in anything other than bullshit, but I would be amazed if there were natural gas price fluctuations, the disparities that we see today, if those still existed in 2035. That's 25 years from now. I don't know, and I don't know anything. I know you're a boom you. I know that probably what you witnessed with that laptop going off could be interpreted a million different ways. And this is a great way to introduce another segment of the show called Absurdism. We're going to talk about that. What caused that laptop to go off? Was it did I disrespect the bells of boom you in some way? Did I indeed ask for whom they told and I shouldn't have? I can't offer anything there. Or maybe it was just a subconscious reaction and my knee just kicked the laptop off. No one knows. But what we do know is there's no longer a laptop. But we're going to continue with this show because that's, you got to go, full speed ahead here. And we want to complete the discussion of the International Energy Agency's World Energy Outlook report, because this is great stuff that we can put directly on the Global Energy Rainbow / Global Energy Chess Match. And okay, here's the deal. I think right before the laptop accident, I read you the following paragraph. The outlook challenges the belief of many Oklahoma producers by projecting domestic oil growth to slow by 2030. So, the IEA's, I'm going to read this here because I consider this to be very good news. This is a quote. The role, and they're talking about OPEC here, the role of OPEC countries in quenching the world's thirst for oil is reduced temporarily over the next 10 years by rising output from the United States, from oil sands in Canada, from deepwater production in Brazil, and from natural gas liquids from all over the world. But by the mid-2020s, non-OPEC production starts to fall back. Basically, that means the United States starts to fall back, and countries in the Middle East provide most of the increase in global supply, the report stated. Okay, so according to these folks, that this boom that's going on right now that we keep talking about, that's in the second, maybe third inning, it sounds like everyone's agreeing that there's no doubt there's a boom. The United States is going to get its big chunk of the global market of crude for the next 10 years, and that's it. Okay, so according to these guys, maybe it's 10 years of good booming times for oil in the United States, minimum, I would say. And we saw that in the report from Goldman Sachs concerning the Bakken being 10 years. But this same report also says that natural gas prices variances will continue up until 2035, and that's a hell of a lot further than 10 years out. But let's all just agree that this boom, we're feeling good about finding a sort of structure to it, and we feel like maybe 10 years is a really good call to say, yeah, this is a 10-year boom. As a matter of fact, you just heard it right here on the Energy Boom 101. The transparent barrel, dispatch from the patch 24. Drilling fluid today, by the way. The famous grouse. Not bad. Not good, necessarily. Not bad, either. The fracking services, Geronimo's Caliente. Would anyone out there got any fracking services that deal in sativa? We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, here we go. Let's continue this report. The IEA pointed out that OPEC and another government-owned oil company control about 80% of the world's economically recoverable oil reserves. And you've heard that before. You'll keep this in mind. You'll always hear this. conventional reserves, not unconventional, conventional reserves. Basically, OPEC controls 80% of it, basically, and of that, Saudi Arabia probably has most of it. I don't know. Oklahoma oil and natural gas producers have criticized organizations like the IEA for being too conservative in their assessments. Now, that may be true. I don't know. It continues, recoverable oil in the U.S. Industry representatives say technology has improved enough to consider far more domestic oil reserves economically recoverable. In other words, unconventional reserves being established. They point to the rapid production boom over the past 5 years as proof. Well, that is proof that there has been a rapid production over the past 5 years. That's not proof that there's going to be continue to be a rapid production, but that is proof that there was. And I can tell you that if I were a betting man, and don't follow my wagers because you'll go broke quick, I bet there's a rapid production for another 5 years for sure, maybe for 10 years. The International Energy Agency and the U.S. Energy Information, however, tend to be slower to accept short-term trends as permanent industry changes. Okay. All sorts of hints and allegations going on in this article, but you get the point. There's a big group out there called the International Energy Agency. They give their World Energy Outlook, and it basically says, in a nutshell, that over the next 10 years, the United States, Canadian oil sands, and deep water projects off Brazil, which, by the way, I would take issue with that, and we'll get into that later. But those three areas will get global market share of oil consuming nations, for the next 10 years. And then it'll go back to its old ways of OPEC. Well, I seriously doubt that. But nonetheless, that's what they say. There you see it, 10-year projection basically on this oil boom. We're feeling really good about that. I think that's historic. Not only was it historic that laptop exploded, but I think it's historic that we can say in this Dispatch 24, which is now 7 minutes into it, and quickly spinning out of control in all sorts of absurd ways, that the boom, I would say, is a 10-year, and I'll throw this at you with the boom, minimum. By the way, I think the boom thing is getting out of control, if it's even out there yet. No one knows. This is also another good time to segue into what we think is going on with the ability of technology to allow us to just throw ideas out there into the other sphere for germination. We can reseed the cosmos with good ideas and good intentions and good behaviors and good vibes. You always want good vibes. Just listen to good vibrations. God damn. You know? And that might be the mission statement. We may adopt that here at the Transparent Barrel Studios. Who knows? We may, and this thing you may never hear from us again. By the way, that's if Vladimir Putin finds out where I live, because he'll come here and give me the pinky pull, and you won't even know what happened. Tons of energy news, by the way, tons of it. I can't get to all of it. Panther Energy gets funding. Samson, Endeavor make a deal. Samson was a freaking huge private energy company up in Tulsa that just sold out to KKR, which is a big ass. I don't even know what you'd call them anymore. Hedge fund something, but it's run by some cat out of Tulsa named Henry Kravitz, I think, and so he has the Tulsa connection. And previous to this, Samson was just enormous. I think they sold to KKR for about $7 billion. So they formed a joint venture with Endeavor out of Houston to do upstream and midstream assets in the Pennsylvania Marcellus Shale. So that's just a good idea to let you know that there's still plenty of development going on in this energy boom. You need to understand, because I don't, that there's plenty of development still going on. That's why it's considered early phases. This is a second, third inning at most, in my opinion. But I barely got through this lovely university right here that we're getting ready to do a sweep spin on. Boom! Look at this sweep spin. You spin that mofo all the way around right there. Oh, by the way, this would be a hell of a time to let the folks out there see. This would be a great backdrop if we could actually get someone to show up on the show. That's been difficult. I tried to get Spuds McKenzie on today, but he wouldn't show up. That's a shout out to Benji. So there's tons of fun little news in Oklahoma. Equal Energy's now in Oklahoma. Equal Energy was a Canadian company. They're now drilling the Mississippi Lime. They're a little dollar stock. It'd be fun to look into. There may be money there. Who knows? Petrotech. Oil and gas. Hey, this is great. This is a fun little bit of news because it lets you see some dollar bills popping around, even though I don't understand them. Okay, Petrotech Oil and Gas is ahead of schedule in its Nowata lease operations in Oklahoma. Now, this is cool because Nowata lease operations would probably be Nowata County. That is northeast Oklahoma. It's shallow oil wells, but as you're getting ready to see, they may still make a lot of frickin' money. And we're getting ready to say fucking, which we just said, because we spell that, remember kids, we spell that P-H-U-C-K-I-N-G, so we can say it all fucking day. because it's a different meaning. And put that in your hash pipe, you linguists. Equal energy. Okay, so Petrotech. Okay, so their no-water lease operation is ahead of schedule. The Texas-based company announced this week 3 reworked gas wells. Now, this says gas wells. This is what's amazing. I'd think they're oil wells. I got to tell you, I bet it's oil wells, but I don't know. Are being put into production. So they found 3 old wells. They reworked them. In other words, they brought them back to life, basically. They put them back into production, and here's what they had to do. They put in some new tank batteries, some roads, and some pipelines. Bip, bip, bip. Quote, the company is planning, based on engineering reports, to do up to 3 new wells on the same Nawada lease. President Eddie Schilb said, this would be an added revenue stream that was not expected from this lease initially, and plans for the first new drill could bring in $50,000 a month if it produces 20 barrels of oil a day. So we can follow these guys and see what kind of revenue they're pumping out of these shallow little, it says gas, but I bet it's an oil well. And I hate to wander too much because I know we're getting close to the 15-minute mark, but this is pretty fun stuff here. Nowata, Oklahoma, Nowata lease operations, Petrotech Oil, they're ahead of schedule. Their initial lease, they were going to drill, just looks like to me, just 3 wells, and they were expecting $50,000 a month, and now it looks like they might drill 6 wells on the sumbitch and get another $50,000 a month, and now you're looking at $100,000 a month based on 40 barrels a day. Boom, whatever that means. Now, that's the smaller picture. That's the Oklahoma energy boom, but we want to keep our eye on the bigger picture, and I'm going to sign off with this final article because this is a great little bit I saw in the Wall Street Journal. Here it is. You just saw it. Boom. Here's what it's called. Go get the Wall Street Journal. It's a hell of a deal. Just read the damn thing. At least read what I'm telling you to read. There is. It's the Wall Street Journal, and it is. You can't see that date, but trust me, it's Tuesday, November 12th. Tuesday, the Great Carniac. Tuesday, November 12th, 2013. Voices on the Future. Voices on the Future column. Amy Myers Jaffe. Pardon me. Oh shit. The bells. Don't ask and don't disrespect. Silence. You know what it was? It was when I was riffing between the bells, so I did disrespect them, and they caused the laptop to go overboard. Holy shit. Okay, anyways, we solved that one at 12:25. This is Voices on the Future by Amy Myers Jaffe on the geopolitics of oil. This is glorious, dude. This is as pure as it gets to understanding oil, in my opinion. And trust me, that doesn't amount for much. Amy Myers Jaffe on the geopolitics of oil. Okay, so who is Amy Myers Jaffe? Amy Myers Jaffe is the Executive Director for Energy and Sustainability at the University of California, Davis. You know that's a badass, probably liberal school, which means I want to hear a liberal person's take on oil because they look at it purely. And listen to what, and I'm pretty sure it's a female. I'm taking a risk here. Oh, shit, I've only got 2 minutes left. I'm not going to be able to read this whole thing. So I'm going to save this for the next. This will open the next dispatch. And we're going to sign off here at 13 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Boom. See ya.